I think anybody can be an ultra runner, but I think to be the best, you have to realize that ultra running is more than a physical endeavor. I think a lot of people think that it's just like maybe a marathon and you can train physically for it and it's over in 4 hours for most people ish. Ultra running takes so much longer, and there's so many different variables that it's not about physical fitness. It's about fighting through those lows. Because I mean, anybody can walk it out for 4 or 5 hours, but can you walk it out for 20?
Tuck toe the quads, inhale, power up, plank, exhale.
I'm Sabrina Stanley, and I'm a professional trail runner. I live in Silverton, Colorado with my boyfriend Avery Collins and our dog Sable. I grew up in Washington State and wanted to travel the world, wanted to just explore, and I kind of stumbled upon trail running and found my calling there and really wanted to pursue it and see where I could take it. When I got into ultra running, Leadville was the mecca in my mind. It's just like this crazy race. So I attempted Leadville in 2015, dropped at mile 87, and then literally, I think it was 2-3 days later, I moved to New York for a job. The dream was to grow with the company, climb the ladder, just be this like corporate restaurant manager. I was working 12 plus hours a day. I was going to the gym at 3 a.m. because that was the only time I could. I love the city, but at the same time, it didn't feel right to me. And so I put my name into Leadville again, into the lottery, and I said, if my name gets drawn, that's like some sign, and I need to go back and I need to retry it. If my name doesn't get drawn, then I'm supposed to be here, and I'm gonna keep pursuing this career. And then my name got drawn, and so I promised myself I'm going to do everything I possibly could to be successful. I started working at the local running store in Breckenridge after I moved back to Colorado, and I started contacting people to help me learn how to run, and I started a long run group on Sundays. I met Avery Collins, and my goal is to do top 10 female at Leadville. And then when I accomplished it, I'm like, okay, what's next? It's hard for me to imagine another person who's mentally stronger than me.
Hi, my name's Ruth Croft. I'm a Kiwi, 32 years old, and I'm part of the Adidas Terex team. I always think growing up in New Zealand, we ran on trails for our Sunday long runs. We hardly ever run on the road. So I think that's where my trail running begun. And then I went to the States on a track and cross-country scholarship. And after I graduated university, I decided to give up running. I moved to Taipei, Taiwan. And after about 6 months of not running, I decided to get back into it. And that's how I found trail running.
When I was living in Taiwan, it was purely just for a way of traveling and exploring and seeing new places. And then it kind of reignited that kind of competitive side of me that I felt I lost a lot when I was competing in college. So I like that ability in the race environment to be able to test yourself against others, but also yourself. Especially in the races that don't go so well, you learn a lot about more the mental aspect of how you react to certain situations and how in the future you can better prepare yourself for those situations to move through them. You're the captain of your own ship. It's up to you to find what brings you happiness and joy in life. And you might be like me. It might take you a little while to find that.
My name is Stephen Kersh, and I'm a professional ultra trail runner for Adidas Terex. What should I eat? I think what I love about running, and especially like trail running, is it just feels so... It feels like the way running should be, in the sense that it's very... You're just going out there and like you're going up a mountain, you're going up hills, and you're going down hills, and it feels so basic and like innate to like what running means to humans. It's just like, that's what we should do. It's just fun. What gets me out the door is to train, so then at these races that I'm competing at, I can race to the best of my ability, and that's what gets me excited. I've lived in Flagstaff almost 6 years. I moved here in the fall of 2015. My buddy was just like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna move, and it's a running mecca, but I had never thought about it. I always thought I was gonna go move back to Portland, Oregon, or you know, a bigger town, a bigger city to pursue like some sort of career. But I'm pretty sure I came here because I wanted to train for the Olympic trials, the United States Olympic trials in the marathon, and I was gonna try to qualify for that race through a half marathon. I ended up running fast enough to get a qualifier, and then, you know, it just kind of snowballs. You can really convince yourself that I could make a career running. That's what I convinced myself of. It didn't happen until I figured out I had to run further to be good, which is kind of demoralizing, but that's fine. Some of us just need a little extra time and distance. In August of 2019, I woke up and I thought I had a stress fracture in my foot. It was very swollen and it hurt, and I couldn't put any weight on it. So I went to a doctor who told me I had gout, and then within the week of getting that diagnosis, the pain in my foot had spread to most of my joints in my body. So my knees, my ankle, my elbow, my shoulder, was my neck. I like couldn't really move. So I had to go to a rheumatologist. Actually, I've gone to 2 rheumatologists, and finally what we've, I think, figured out the diagnosis is something called ankylosing spondylitis, which is an autoimmune disease, and it's something I'll ostensibly have for the rest of my life. I was on top of the world June of last year after running 100 miles and finishing 7th at Western States, and then like a month later I can't get out of bed really. It was weird. I've never, I guess I've been very fortunate in my life to not have to deal with too many hard things. Sorry. But yeah, that sucked. You just don't know if you're gonna get back to being able to do obviously what you love to do. And yeah, I don't know why. It's like, I don't think I haven't cried a whole lot about this. And I don't know why it's happening right now, but I guess, yeah, it's nice to be back to a place where I feel confident that I can go run. Because, yeah, there was months where I never thought I'd do it again.
This place was the workplace of my family. Now I'm working here because this is my training place. I am Pablo Villa. I am a professional trail runner.
For me, it's very important to be here with Maria because she's my wife, but she's my supporter. To be the wife of a professional athlete is very difficult. You don't have normal Sundays or normal holidays. and Maria help me all the time. I only have one coach, and when we start to work together, he said, this plan is a long plan. If you are patient, your max level will come in 10 years. The last year was the 10th year with my coach. My best level was the last year. For me, to win a Spanish championship, a race of the World Cup, is more than I could imagine. I think I won because I worked a lot during a lot of years.
So coming to Sedona for team camp, my goals, like my training is going to be the same whether I'm here or in Silverton. Like I know what vert I'm going to get, I know what mileage I'm going to get, I know what efforts I'm going to get. I'm approaching that curve where like I'm totally back in the game and like now serious gains are going to be made. But I think my overall like number one goal was to just bond with the team. And so if like we come home from a run and I haven't got my yoga in, but like the team's having lunch or the team is doing dinner, like I'm gonna take a shower and join the team and really engage with that. And then before I go to bed, when I'm in my room by myself, I can do my yoga. Over the last year, we haven't got a lot of social interaction, and I don't want to be like the person that's like train. And I really cherish like the friendships I'm forming and the people I'm getting to meet. And in ultra running, it's such a solo sport. From like looking from the outside in, having those teammates and like following their journeys is in like a weird way a stress reliever. Like you're not so wrapped up just in yourself and your training, and it's like relaxing to be like, oh, like they're going through the same struggles I am, and they have the same ambition and they have the same drive, and like I'm not like in this cage where like nobody understands how hard I work and nobody understands how bad I want it, because like we all want it that bad and we all work that hard.
When Sabrina shows up, she's completely prepared to execute and drain herself to put the best performance out there that she can. However Hard Rock goes, like that's going to be carried with her to UTMB. And I know she's always trying to be the best, and she always says, you know, if she doesn't win a race, she'll keep going back until she wins it. And I have no doubt that that's exactly how she'll do it.
Yeah, I think probably all trail runners have that similar feeling in training, and that when you get out in a pretty magical place and you're the only one out on the trail, and you get into that state of flow, I suppose, and everything's just clicking, and you're in the environment that you're in. Yeah, I think we can all be pretty grateful of our sport and that we're able to find that as well. For me, the team's really important because I am on the road a lot of the time. Like being from New Zealand, I'm competing in Europe or the US. So to have a team atmosphere, team base, and that to connect with, it really does help than just going out, and it makes it just way more enjoyable. So the first half of the year, I concentrated on the road. I wanted to try and do the Olympic qualifying time for the marathon, which is 2:29:30. So that was my main focus, and then in the middle of it I did Tarawera 100k. So Tarawera was my first race back into ultras. I've been doing marathons for the past 3 years, so that's why I wanted to use Tarawera as kind of a test trial. I wanted to pace myself, be conservative over the first half, and then see how I felt later on in the race. So that was the goal. I was happy with it. I haven't really raced that distance for a really long time. And then after that, I switched back to the road. I went over to Aussie to race there and try and do the standard, but it just wasn't happening on the day, and I ended up pulling out of the race at 32k
all my time goals had pretty much slipped, so I didn't see the point in jogging it in to finish and just called it a day, and then after that I've switched my focus back to trail. So for Western States particularly, I think I just have to learn to be super patient. I'm not here to have a picnic, like I want to be competitive, but also going into it knowing this is my first 100 miler, the longest I've ever run. So there is that kind of element in the back of my mind. I feel pretty relaxed about it, to be honest. I was, if you asked me a few weeks ago, probably not in the same sense, but I feel mentally at the moment pretty calm about it. Yeah, it is daunting. Like, it is kind of like the way I remember doing my first 50K, like just thinking, oh my gosh, that's like so far. And then you just get out there and you do it.
I think coming from that low provided the highlights of the next, 6 months or so, which were basically like relearning how to run and how to just appreciate being able to move. It's been a very strange time since then. So yeah, I'm looking forward to like a little more normalcy, I guess, and getting back to doing the thing that I love. It was really cool just to be able to pretty much trust my body again, to be able to run for 6 to 8 hours with a lot of elevation gain and run pretty quick. And then I used that to build towards a goal race of mine in 2020, which was the JFK 50, which is the oldest ultra marathon in the United States. So like a lot of really good people have run there. A really good race. I ran the 3rd fastest time of all time. I ended up placing 2nd. It was just really cool to finally have one of those days where I felt super healthy. I felt like myself again, being able to really push my limits after not being able to do that for over a year. Yeah, getting ready for Western States. Last time I did this race, I was just there to participate. I just wanted to finish the race. And now that I know I can do that, and I can finish it and be competitive with making a lot of errors, I think. Yeah, I have a ton of confidence going to the race, and I'm going there to get on the podium.
2020 started perfect because I did my first important race with my team, with Adidas in Gran Canaria. I finished in first position, but 7 days after the race, the corona came. The lockdown was 6-7 weeks. I was without running more than 40 days, so the first run after this time was very emotional. I remember that I was crying in the street around my home. 50 days ago, I was in one of the best fitness in my life, and 50 days after, I was a completely tortoise. 10 months after the lockdown, I started to feel more or less okay or good, in a good performance. In my first big race, I didn't finish because I had a fail. I broke my finger, and I decided to run in Chamonix Mont Blanc race. When the race started, I couldn't breathe. In the 35 kilometers, more or less, I spit blood. I finished the race with a oxygen face mask in an ambulance. I decided to run in another race in Barcelona. I didn't finish again. After this race, I decided to start to work again with my psychologist, because I think the body and the mind are in relationship. It's important to have a good balance between body and mind. When you are in a good fitness, in my case, I feel that I can fly, and this feeling was impossible during a lot of months. I have to check my body the first, but yes, I am continue with my training for the UTMB. But now, my first goal is to feel again that I can fly in the mountains.
We are in Silverton, Colorado, and we are just a few days before the start of Hard Rock. I think this is like a huge step in my career. I want to win, and whatever the circumstances are, like, I'm gonna win. And so that's just how it's gonna be. So the race starts, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to be in my own headspace and focus on my breathing and focus on my intention. And so I wanted to run my race and not try and keep up with anyone else, and not also try to I don't know, I just wanted to be in my own headspace, period.
Sabrina Stanley leads the women at mile 64.5 Governor Basin in 15:17 a lap. She's currently 5th overall, super happy. Stayed for just a few minutes eating and drinking ginger ale. She said she passed Courtney a little earlier sitting on the trail.
Sabrina Stanley!
So it is June 24th, and we are out here in Lake Tahoe, California, getting ready for the Western States 100, which will be 2 days from now. I've had a really good training block with just very consistent miles over the last probably 3 or 4 months. So yeah, I mean, I've stayed healthy and I've got in my training, so now just get to go test it all out on Saturday.
You're back.
That's right, I'm back.
So it's the morning before Western States. We're here at our team house in Olympic Valley, and yeah, we're all kind of prepping, and Steven just got in. We're doing some interviews, we're drinking coffee, and it definitely, we're all a little nervous, I think, but there's also kind of like a calm excitement in the room too. I keep letting out these bursts of this wave of nerves that just hits me, and
And I just get like, I remember it all for a second and get super excited and let it out, and then I calm down again.
Good morning, Western States runners. Welcome to your day. Your moment has arrived.
Yeah, the weather played a huge factor in the race yesterday. It was just incredibly hot.
Yeah, so the plan was to not go out too hard just because it's my first 100 miler. And so I was hoping the girls behind me would like kind of blow each other up a bit. I just wanted to get to Forest Hill and not have blown out my quads and keep cool. And then from there, get my legs moving.
Yeah, pretty early on, I just knew that it was going to be about kind of survival through the day and just hopefully picking people off. Although, to be completely honest, I wasn't sure I was even going to get to halfway. I just felt very bad.
I feel like Western States is all about managing yourself, and if you can manage yourself, you can just keep moving through the field.
Yeah, it was everything I could to just tell myself to get to my crew, because it was great seeing them and they were a huge boost of morale. You just have to get to 55 miles and then you can call it a day. Like, that's more than halfway.
I always put expectation, I suppose, a bit on myself, and I felt like my training had gone well, and again, I felt like if I had did all the basics right, then I could have a decent shot at being further up the field.
My teammate Ruth Croft was behind me and at one point incredibly close to me, which is incredible. And then I also got a pacer. It was going to be hard to quit at that point, so I just kind of gave myself no excuses and just tried to get it done.
The highs were definitely my crew. So I had my partner Martin, who crewed and paced, and then good friend Alex Varner, who just like talked my ear off, so I kind of forgot that I was even running for like 30K. I had like a low, but I was able to come out of it, and then obviously like the last 6 miles I was really regretting my life right then, but it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be in my head.
So you can sit down, okay?
Cheers.
Yeah, sit down. Let me get you.
In Montana, and the 2018 World Champion, winner of the CCC race.
In our 7th place men's finisher from Flagstaff, Arizona, at a time of 17:29.23, Stephen Kersh.
In 2nd place in the women's division from Stillwater, New Zealand, Ruth Croft.
Definitely was a positive experience, but I'm not feeling that great today, to be honest. My feet are really sore, and my legs are sore, and everything is just kind of aching. I just feel this is not like healthy to get your body in this state. So, and you will see the people around today, like there's a lot of, not too well off people. So I don't know if I want to do too many 100 milers. I think I need to be very selective about which ones I do. So I'm not sure if I'll be back for Western States next year, but maybe another time in the future.
Yesterday, I ran the Western States endurance run, 100 miler, and ended up placing as the 7th male, which was the same result actually as when I raced in 2019. And yeah, there's just something about knowing that you're not just racing for yourself, you know, you're representing this whole idea that Adidas has put together with just like this one team, which is really unique in the trail running world, and to know that those 3 ladies were behind me. My teammate Ruth Croft only finished like 5 minutes behind me, which is incredible. And I didn't know that, but like that gives me a huge sense of pride to just know that, I mean, she was 2nd overall, ran incredibly fast, and yeah, just to be associated with those 3 women is, it's super special. Yeah, you know, I mean, 2019 was a strange year for getting into the sport and then being able to have such a good kind of successful debut at that 100-mile distance. And then, you know, to go through all that was, it was really hard. You always do this, man. Luckily, I have an amazing group of people that were able to just get me to keep moving forward and not stop, even when I really wanted to stop. And yeah, like I've said it before, but that race yesterday, I'm so much more proud of that than in 2019 because of everything that I've gone through and like the self-doubt of even yesterday. Like, I think it played a huge role in just the first 30 miles thinking about how I know how I felt in 2019 and then how I felt yesterday. And you're just saying like, okay, am I even the same athlete? Like, why do I feel this bad? But I couldn't have done what I did in 2019 to finish the race like that. So.
I think with bad results, maybe you can lose a little bit of confidence in yourself. To be in Adidas Terrace team is much more than money, much more than to be a professional athlete, because you are around of incredible people that support you in your worst moments. It's really difficult to have a support when you fail 3 important races. So in these moments is when you know the real power of the team. It's incredible because the team has more confidence in these moments in mine than myself, I think. So this is incredible. I have my wife, my friend Miguel, that will be here with me in Chamonix in my goal, and my body, I think, will be ready. If in the past I could win races with the best runners, why not now?
There was about a 2-week period where I intentionally didn't even think about running in any regard at all. I didn't think about UTMB. I didn't think about if I was going to drop it, if I was going to race it, who was racing it, what the course was like. I really kind of just soaked in my hard rock effort and everything I'd worked for and appreciated that moment in time where I felt that I was on top. And I'm starting to realize that maybe my body isn't as healed as I would like it to be to race again. Like, I've read a ton of books on the subject. I've read race reports. I've studied previous athletes and current athletes and their race decisions. And I would be ignorant not to take anything from that. It'd be a waste of my time to read all that and then walk away and say, well, my body is more superior. I want people to look at my results history and see 1 next to everything and be really scared when they step up to the start line next to me. I want them to know that every day, like, you don't have a shot against me. And so stepping up to the start line at UTMB and potentially not performing to my full level allows that crack in the armor for other competitors to see that some days I am off and some days I'm not 100%, which isn't true. Like, that's not who I am. I am 100% every day I step to the start line. Being here in Chamonix, seeing my friends and teammates getting ready for their races, like, I want to have that excitement and I want to be testing out my pack and I want to be doing my taper runs. I want to be a part of the party, and I'm not. I'm like on the sidelines, which is okay with me because I get to help out my teammates and I get to cheer them on and be a part of that in a different kind of way. But really badly, I want to be a part of it. And so I'm making sacrifices in a way that I feel will pay off later. And I'm intentionally, like, mentally putting myself through a little bit of anguish just to piss off that demon a little bit more for next year.
Being able to line up at CCC is, I think, the next kind of logical progression is my journey as an ultra runner, just because now I have raced against some of the best ultra runners in the world at Western States, at JFK, at some of my earlier races too, and now to be able to do it in Europe, I think is just kind of it's almost like a proving ground for you as an athlete. And for all of us, we see UTMB, these week of races, as just where you really kind of make your mark on the world of ultra running. You just have to know how to make decisions, these really small decisions that then lead to this really big goal. In like a 100-mile race, you can't look towards the 100-mile finish. You have to think about literally the next mile in front of you, and that's it. And if you start to think too much, you're going to start really thinking about all the bad stuff that could happen. Whereas if you just kind of stay in the present and stay in the moment, you can do some decision making to lead you to the mile after that, and then the next mile and the next mile. And I think the mindset you need of an ultra runner is to just be fully engaged in where you are in that moment and dealing with the emotions you have right then and there, and not trying to think about the finish, because these races are so long, and it will just kind of eat you up.
I think the 100 miles kind of took a massive toll on my body, like both physically and mentally. I had 3 weeks completely off and then tried to shift gears for CCC. And the plan was to run CCC, and then I got a stomach bug a few days before, and so I had to pull the pin on that one. As I said, it was my first 100 miler, and I would like to, continue building on that in the years to come, while still doing some of the shorter stuff as well, because I think with the 100 milers, you've got to be careful. You can't do too many in a year. I think the most is one a year. So I definitely want to head in that direction, but still keep some of that shorter stuff as well.
The next 2 weeks is time for go holidays, but I have to be honest. For me, spend time with my psychologist is the most important investment that I did in my career. It's not only about the sport, it's only about my emotions that I feel every day with my friends, with my family, with my wife. So I think it's very important to know you, to know yourself, to know your emotion. Why do you feel like this, or why do you feel bad? It's not normal to feel bad. If you feel bad, you need help. I think the mental health is a big problem not only in the sport community, also in the society. And I think that should be more open to chat about this problem. I feel big good emotions when I think in UTMB. And I think this is the way that I should follow.
If you're having a low spot and you aren't expecting anybody on the course and you have 40 more miles to go, but you turn the corner and there's 15 of your teammates there, your spirits are instantly lifted. And then you're like, okay, you run 5 more miles and you hit low, you turn a corner and they're there again. And then they're there again. And they are not letting you drop to your lowest, because every time you're starting to drop, there's another surprise around the corner. As soon as I decided not to do UTMB, I made a goal for myself that week of UTMB, I was going to be on course as much as possible for my teammates. If like Terex can keep this up, or when they keep this up in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I think we'll show that in podium spots at major races across the board.
I knew what it took for me to like pull myself up and out of some really dark places. It takes a lot of people to get you through the race, and being able to have athletes that are my teammates here with Terex has been just like such a blessing. It's so cool that we all get to come back together and do what we love.